You're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. And now, here's two guys who can be seen around town wearing their CHCO Speedos, Evan and Joe.
I'm Joe Ticotsky down in New Haven, Connecticut.
I'm Evan McFarlane in St. Andrews, New Brunswick, where it's so foggy I can barely see down the 18th fairway.
And you're watching episode 71 of Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. Congrats are in order for the city of Toronto and actually all of Canada, as they were recently awarded a WNBA franchise starting in the 2026 season. There may be a game or two played in Vancouver and Montreal, and who knows, maybe one year they'll get an exhibition game or something right in your backyard there.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's pretty easy to see that the sport is growing across the country. So I think that getting one team in is obviously not the end goal, but it's a great place to start. But those two other places that you said, Vancouver, Montreal, we're 5 years out of them having a team as well, I think.
Yeah. And I had, they haven't announced a team name yet, but I had a few in mind here. So run them by you.
Right.
The Toronto Mc&Ts.
You know what? That's got a ring to it.
It does roll off the tongue. The Toronto Sorries.
Yeah.
There you go.
We will be when they win a championship the first year. Right?
The Toronto Poutine. Of course, that would be nice and obvious. And
okay.
What I think would be a simple and unique one, could be a little controversial, but gets right to the point. The Toronto Chicks.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah. I'm joking. I'm a girls basketball coach. It was a bad joke. But yeah, good news for them. All right, well, after the break, we are going to talk to a hockey coach who this season defined perfection. You're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV in St. Andrews. Welcome back to Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. Hockey coach Gardiner MacDougall has a list of coaching accolades a mile long, so we'll just give you some highlights. As men's hockey coach at the University of New Brunswick for 24 seasons, he had 490 regular season wins, the most by any coach in Canadian men's university hockey history. He and his UNB Reds tied the all-time record by winning 9 University Cup titles, and this past season, his national championship team went undefeated with an amazing 43-0 record. He followed that up by going undefeated again and winning the gold medal as coach of Team Canada at the International Ice Hockey Federation's U18 World Championships in Finland. He recently resigned as coach of UNB and made the jump up by being named head coach of the Moncton Wildcats in the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League. It's been quite the year for Gardiner MacDougall, and let's relive some of those highlights by welcoming in Coach Mac. Coach, welcome to the show.
Yeah, real privilege to be part of it.
We're lucky to get you on with the little bit of the whirlwind experience you've been having over the last couple months.
Yeah, no, it's been an exciting part of the journey, no question.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we have to start with the amazing 43-0 season you just had at UNB and your 24th and what turned out to be final season there. Back on September 22nd, you started out with a 5-2 exhibition win over Carleton. Did you ever think you'd go post to wire and go undefeated over almost 6 months?
Yeah, I know. It's had an amazing group. And, at the time you're just, you play your first game. Actually, the next day we played, I think we were behind 2-0 early. We came back and then we're behind, and then we came back, and then they came back. We ended up winning by 1 against Ottawa. And I think our second regulation game of the year, we had a big home opener and, a convincing win on our home opener. And we went over to PEI and we scraped out a 1-0 win, so at that time, I think even throughout the whole process, you're just, in the moment, you're just trying to get better the next game.
Now, towards the very end, did the players start, as you're getting the 36 in a row, 37, are the players feeling a little pressure?
I think they did it. Responded really well. Maybe at Christmas, I think you get the month exam break, and I think guys look at it and say, "Holy smokes!" We're I think 18-0 at that time. Say, "Wow, this is pretty exciting." And usually we put obviously a big emphasis on the foundation and having a great start, but we're really concentrating on having a big second half, and we post records. We have a pretty tough, say, 10 days after the first half finishes, say the December 1st to December 10th before exam starts. And we always put some documentation up of, okay, this is what should happen second half. And there's a couple of undefeated second halves and really convincing records. So I think guys were looking at the undefeated, and then if we can be similar to what other UNB teams have done in the past, it's going to be an exciting second half. But full credit to the group. I don't think they took it as pressure. I think they thought, hey, this is a great challenge, and there's been a lot of high standards made and legacies left at UNB, and I thought this group says, hey, we can be something special that no UNB team has ever done.
Yeah.
Sure. That almost kind of goes into what I'm about to ask, but like every team has its ups and downs, and I mean, I was a part of being able to watch the team firsthand when I was working with the athletic department. There's not a lot of downs, but when you get into a 43-0 record, like, one, what is actually something possibly that is going wrong, and like two, how do you keep everybody's minds in this? Because like in the end, they are still students, and it's probably easy to get caught up in the moment. But how do you kind of keep everybody focused?
I think we had a tremendous leadership group, and Jason Wilms, has been our captain for 2 years. He has 2 national championships as a captain, and his associate, Cade Landry was outstanding. There were different personalities, so I think they had an opportunity to connect. Austin Keating, Brady Gilmore, those are veteran players that went through COVID with us, and going through COVID was, I believe, like 82 practices, 0 games, not a lot of hope. And this group was their first year, and I think that foundation, I think they appreciated what they went through, and even the second, they're really first year playing, second year at UNB. We played a first half, and then we had this extended break, and even New Brunswick then put 2 extra weeks on it. So we finished like about probably around December 1st, and we didn't get playing until February. And again, many times there wasn't a lot of hope, and these guys stayed true to UNB and stay true to the group. And I think that the foundation was okay. And then when they got to play last year and then had the success, and we're a very young group. It's the youngest group in UNB history that won a national championship last year. And then we're fortunate enough to get, I believe 18 of them back this year with that experience. I guess two good experiences, the experiences of not being able to play, but still persevering and practicing and getting better. And then last year playing and winning, I think it was a really great foundation. And for, trying to win your first game and then trying to do that first game 43 times.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now, so after the season ended, you retired, but that lasted less than 24 hours before you were hired to become head coach of the Moncton Wildcats of the QMJHL. What made you think the timing was right to make a change like that?
Well, I did this a month ago, it probably wasn't in the books and even a remote thought of doing it. But, full credit to Mr. Irving. And I've always admired his passion for his hockey team, and passion really for New Brunswick, but certainly for the Moncton Wildcats and the resources that he's put into the group. I mean, if you go down to the Aviar Center, the arena, and their facilities and the dress room and that, it's, unless you get to the NHL, you're not going to see that. So I guess I'll start with a phone call, and then once we got back from the under 18, I guess, got some more interest, and I wanted to just see what the opportunity was all about. Probably, obviously the biggest thing was having my son Taylor being involved as a general manager. And I guess the 2 of those people were the prime advocates of everything happening.
Okay. Evan.
Yeah, and when I first heard the rumor of that, I was like, "There's no way." Like Gardner's Fredericton, he's not going anywhere. But like looking back, Gardner, what are you going to miss the most about university hockey and going to Moncton? Do you think you need to change anything about your coaching style or philosophy?
Yeah, both good questions. I mean, yeah, the 24 years, I mean, it's a huge part of my life, and probably been a life changer coming to UNB. And
Mm.
we raised our family here, and my wife was a prime educator here in the city of Fredericton until she retired last year. Both our daughter Madison and our son Taylor were both brought up here. They're UNB. Maddie has 3 degrees. Taylor has 2 degrees. So we're stamped with a big UNB on the back, on the stomach, all over us.
Yeah,
So it was nice to see there is some red in the Moncton Wildcats jerseys, so I can.
right.
Obviously, my favorite color for most of my life, but certainly the last 24 years. But I think just it's always to me, it's always the friendships and always the memories. And I said in the press conference, I had the best of both. I had tremendous, friendships. The staff I had at UNB was second to none. Rob Henniker's getting the opportunity to take over as a head coach now, and just so well deserved. He has a 4-year player for me. He was our MVP for 4 years. That's very, very hard to do. And then he's been, he was signed to an NHL contract when he left UNB. Was the best athlete in the country, 14,000 athletes. He was the first hockey player to win that award as a top athlete in the country. And then, had a great pro career, but we cut it a little short when we hired him as, I call assistant coach originally, and I, elevated to associate coach. So we had a tremendous relationship, and just the rest of the staff, the Brad Goods, Charlie Camerons, Kyles McDonald, our fitness people, Andrew Pierce, Kenny Morrison. There was just so many people. We had one of our championship pitchers. There was 53 people in the picture. Brian Smith, the legendary photographer at that time, who unfortunately passed away, 2 years ago. But when he took the photo, and then I counted them up, and I was full time. Rob was full time. Joe Glenn, who also unfortunately passed away. Joe was hired full time as our trainer and our medical guy and our equipment guy, jack of all trades. But everybody else was basically a volunteers type. And after 25 players, you have 28 other people that just wanted to help out. And I can't say enough about the support we received, both from the university. President Paul Mazerow is a fourth university president I've been privileged to have work for. And he's very, very passionate about the hockey program, and he sees the benefits of it. And so we just, had so many people. So I think you certainly missed the people. I hope we got a lot of new Moncton Wildcat fans in the city of Fredericton, and I'm sure we'll see them at different games throughout the year. A lot of them.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick break because we do want to continue with some more questions, so sort of a part 2 of this. So we'll be back after a quick break with Gardiner MacDougall, and you're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. Welcome back to Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV, and we're lucky enough to have Gardiner MacDougall, coach of the champion and undefeated UNB Reds, who is now going to be coaching with the Moncton Wildcats. And we had some more things, so we will extend the interview a little bit. Gardiner, with Moncton, there's a bit of, as you mentioned, a bit of a family connection going on, as your son Taylor will be the new GM and director of hockey operations for the team. Have you worked a lot with him, and how excited are you to be working with him with the Wildcats?
Yeah, I think we've had 34 years with him. 34. So obviously different roles, but he's just been a hockey, obviously brought up in a hockey environment. And I remember I was coaching the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. I think he was 4, maybe turning 5. And he went on his first scouting trip. And I remember I went away for the weekend to scout a tournament, and I brought him along. And the Rangers had beat the Quebec Nordiques in the playoffs, and he's quizzing me questions. I'm a New York Ranger fan, and he's quizzing me questions about the second and the third goalies on the Rangers, who I didn't know who the third goalie was, and why this goalie didn't play, and why Quebec put their goalie in at 5 years old. So he's been around hockey a long time. I was fortunate enough to be a dad when he played in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and then be a dad and a coach when he played 5 years at the University of New Brunswick. And and then a brief pro career. He ended up getting a law degree at UNB and had to do his articling, so he had to cut short his pro career. But and he's got into as an NHL player agent for the last 5 years, and made just a lot of connections in the hockey world, and has had some neat opportunities to move up at the pro level, and the assistant GM roles and this type of thing. So I think this just kind of perfect timing. Has had different opportunities throughout to get into this part of the hockey world. And he's been just ecstatic, enthusiastic. And I was, at our initial press conference, I was a proud dad. I just thought he was outstanding. He's obviously, we're in Moncton's a bilingual city, and I've got to really I got to work and acquire some French for my vocabulary. But he was outstanding. Spoke his whole thing in both languages, and just really professional. And I think it's going to be exciting opportunity to work with him. But the biggest thing is just going to be really exciting for the Moncton Wildcats and the Moncton Wildcats fan base.
Now, can he work on getting the Nordiques back into the NHL or what?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. It'd be nice to get them back to Quebec. I don't know if they'd be the Nordiques or not, but they got an unbelievable facility, and certainly is no lack of passion, that's for sure.
Not at all.
Yeah. Evan wants to get into something about some overseas success you've had.
Yeah. So I guess everybody there was no shock when it happened, Gardiner, but it's so awesome that you got the opportunity to coach at the U18 World Championships. I've already said I pegged it as you're probably going to do the World Junior team at some point too. I hope that happens, and I'll be very excited for you when it does. But can you just please rub it into Joe how nice it was to beat the States?
Well,
I'm going to take my digs where I can.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's interesting. I'm speaking, I think in 2 weeks, the coaches site is the top, coaching conference, for hockey coaches at all levels. There'll be NHL people there. There'll be, the AAA under 11 people there, and they do such a great job. Aaron is from Vancouver. I've spoke at the conference a couple times out in Langley, BC, up in Toronto. And this year I get to speak in Michigan, which is the heart of hockey for USA. And I remember just prior to the final game, and obviously we're going against a juggernaut. It's a team that's been together for 2 years. I think they played 85 games this year. They played the North Dakotas, the Boston College, the Boston University, had a really good record in the USHL and are dominating this tournament. So I remember saying to our coaching staff, I followed this boy, we got to pull this out today. I said, I'm going to be speaking in Michigan. I want to hold my head high when I go up on that stage. So I will have my head high, I guess, when I get to speak in Michigan in 2 weeks time. But it was a great game, a great challenge, and that's what I've been really lucky. That was I guess the fourth World Championship gold medal game I've been fortunate to coach. And Russia, the first one in 2007, which Rob Henniker scored in the first minute and then scored 2 of her 3 goals, and we beat Russia 3-1. And for Canadian, just to have that Canadian jersey on and to win that, that was really my first major championship, and it was over in Torino, Italy. And then, nowadays, obviously the big rival is Canada, USA. So for our players to, put that jersey on for that gold medal game, and our staff to have that opportunity, and it's twofold. You get the opportunity to play, but it's way better when you get the opportunity to play and you get the opportunity to win. So those are real special moments for sure.
Yeah. Now, how many games were in that tournament?
7 in the tournament. We had played 2 games prior, which were key games for us. We had played the host team, Finland, in our first, I guess, exhibition you call it, but was far from exhibition. So end up 9 games.
So now, when was the last time you lost a game that you coached?
Maybe some of the inter squads that we had at UNB this year, and going head to head with my staff. But I guess you'd probably go back in playoffs 2 years ago in the AUS finals. We had 1 game won here against St. Mary's, and then we went down there. Really, really exciting game. Tough on coaches and goalies. Great for fans, and we ended up losing overtime. I think it was 6-5 or 5-4. And then we got to come back. Actually, it was sometimes a loss is appropriate. You don't
Right.
want it, but sometimes it's needed, and sometimes a loss will get you that next level where you can't get by winning. And that game was true to form. And little did we know we're going to get extended winning streak out of it, but.
Yeah.
It was the win game 3. It was a full house at UNB, and then we went up to nationals in Charlottetown, which was kind of neat. I was born in Charlottetown,
Right.
so pretty neat. My mom, who was 87 at that time, and lots of family were there, so it was pretty neat to win the championship in Charlottetown, and an excellent effort from our group.
And if you had lost, it would have been horrible for your mom to start booing you from the.
Yeah, no question. Yeah.
One other thing, and this is going to be sort of a tricky one, because once this is aired, the Stanley Cup Finals will probably be over. But do you have a prediction on Florida against Canada's Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals?
Yeah, well, there's a heart and a head, I guess. And the heart, we all want a Canadian team to win, and Edmonton is a real fun team to watch. They obviously have their stars, but it's good to see some of these guys' resilience. Their goaltenders having had the last 2 games, probably best 2 games of his life, and you got a U Sport alumnus that we had played in 2009 against Alberta in Thunder Bay. We had beat Alberta, and Derek Ryan was the key player for Alberta at that time, and so it's nice to see that he's extending his career and a key part of the Oilers as well. In my head, if I was putting money down the line, which I don't know if we got the rules the same as Major League Baseball today or not, but I think Florida's going to be a real tough team to beat, and I think one of the reasons being they went there last year. They know what it feels like to lose. I think Paul Maurice is an outstanding coach. He's got an extensive career. We probably followed him more when he's a Winnipeg Jet head coach, but I think he's done a marvelous job, and a real hard team to play against. So I think it's going to be a dandy series. But in my heart, let's hope the Oilers can win Game 6 at home. In my head, maybe Florida in 5. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. And Paul Maurice, former Hartford Whalers coach.
Yes. Yeah.
They'll be second on the list after getting the Nordiques back into the NHL. Well, Gardiner MacDougall is certainly a legendary head coach, formerly of the UNB Reds men's hockey program, and now will be the head coach of the Moncton Wildcats in the QMJHL. You can find out more info about his new team by going to moncton-wildcats.com. Coach Mac, it's been so neat. Evans told me about you and the program, and being from out of the country, obviously we don't follow it as much, but just reading up on it, and it sounded like it was an amazing team to follow and a great experience for you.
Yeah, no, it's been life changing, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time. We'll be following your podcast more, as well. I think outstanding, great questions. It's great to see a UNB alumnus making a difference here in the hockey and sporting world.
Awesome. We appreciate it, Gardiner. Thanks for fitting us into your busy schedule. And come on down for some golf before you get too caught up in the hockey world again. It's going to be a good summer.
That'll be outstanding. Yeah, I'll take you. Okay, super.
Thanks a lot for being on the show.
Have a great day.
And we're back. Great interview there with Gardiner, man. What a career he's had.
I mean, I can listen to that guy talk all day. He's very well known for some great stories, and that's what a lot of his players like about him is behind the scenes. He can tell stories until everyone's got to go to bed. But yeah, such an interesting guy.
Good stuff there. All right, sure. We're near the end, so why don't you hit us with a shout out?
Sure. I'm going to change my shout out a little bit to hoping that people will shout out to me, because we have the New Brunswick Men's Amateur at the Algonquin Golf Course in mid-July. For that, I'm going to need a few volunteers. So if anybody's watching this and wants to donate a day or so of their time, just let me know, and I will get you the exact dates, and we'll plug you in.
Sounds good. And if you watch the beginning of the show and our opening there from Mark, Evan will be the guy walking around town with his CHCO issued Speedo in the summer. So you
Great.
can catch him there.
Can't wait.
I've got a shout out. I haven't had one in a while. My cousin Maury Goldberg, who's a retired veterinarian, lives outside San Francisco, recently turned 101 years old.
Holy.
And he still cooks, which I barely even do.
Crazy. Can we change his nickname to Pongo? Pongo was the name of the 101st Dalmatian.
Oh, okay. All right. There we go.
That's usually my golf score.
Well, that is it for episode 71 of Mc&T Sports Report. I am Joe in New Haven.
I'm Evan here in St. Andrews.
Thanks to Patrick Watt and Florence Mitchell for producing and editing a show that's now so popular in St. Andrews that my co-host Evan has to walk around town with sunglasses and a fake mustache.
Yeah, that they don't go well with the Speedo.
There you go. Well, this is Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO in St. Andrews.